point is, yikes, it's time to go to and you fill in the blank for your family. I know as a parent myself, this often happens where those appointments just sneak up on us, or we're supposed to go somewhere and we thought about it, a month ago, but then, oh my gosh, we were in January and now March sneaks up on us. So with that being said, I'm going to give you some just suggestions, some strategy ideas today for things that we can do to help out our kids and help out our family to make this quick transition a little bit easier on everybody. So what are some of the top challenges or the top reasons why these appointments that happen every once in a while are so challenging? First of all, they're unexpected. So I'm talking about those times, those doctor's appointments, those haircuts, the family Zoom that you wanted to catch today that isn't normally going to be on your schedule every day. So if you're a person who memorizes your schedule and is really good with routine, but then all of a sudden we throw a wild card at you, that's unexpected, and that can lead to some feelings of concern and different emotions that happen. We also know that the concept of an appointment can be a challenge for some people. So appointments happen at specific times. So that's why when you tell your kid, hey, we got to go, our appointment's at 3:00 and it's, 10 till 3 and it takes us 15 minutes to get there. Like, we're late, we got to go. But if your child doesn't have a good understanding of time, they might think, well, I'll just see the doctor when we get there. Like, what is this 3:00 that you're so worried about? Why can't they wait on us? So can I finish my game or can I finish my show that I'm watching? Why is that appointment specific time so special? And that can be a challenge for some of our kids. And all of this then creates anxiety, right? Anxiety because I'm not sure what's going to happen to me. I'm not sure where exactly we're going. I didn't plan on this. So now I'm upset because I'm going to leave my stuff. And I don't know when I'm going to get back to finishing my show. Are we going to be gone for an hour or are we going to be gone for the whole day? So lots of questions that can start to swirl around. We know that a lot of our kiddos with autism have difficulty predicting what will happen. So, for example, as a mom, I told my daughter that she was going to pick up her new pair of glasses. And one of her questions was, am I going to get a shot? So all she was thinking of is, we're going to a doctor's appointment. And so picking up glasses, yes, it's at the eye doctor's office, but eye doctors don't even give shots at all. And so she was having difficulty predicting what kind of doctor we were going to or what kind of office we were going to and what exactly was going to be happening. So a lot of the anxiety can come, and some of our kids can't express to us very well maybe what they're thinking. But if you know that your child sometimes doesn't have the best prediction skills, you might want to ask them, what do you think is going to happen when we get there? And see if they are on the same page with you. And then there's some strategies here in a little bit that we're going to talk about how to help with that prediction for that appointment. And finally, appointments come with lots of waiting, right? Sitting in the waiting room. We have to be there at 3:00, but sometimes we don't get in until 3:30 or 3:45. And so that some of our kids know very well that when it's an appointment time, there's going to be a lot of waiting involved and they don't like that part. So how can we help them with that part, which is all part of going to an appointment? So also when we talk about advanced, notice, we want to prepare kids for things that are coming. You know your child best. You know the amount of advanced warning that you give as far as, are you going to give them an hour notice? Or are you going to give them a week notice? Do they need it to be on the calendar for the whole month? If you have a child who sees that they have to go get their haircut and that is the worst thing that they want to do, you may not want to put that on the calendar a month in advance, because then they're going to just kind of dwell on that, look at that, be worried about it for a really long time. And you don't want them to go through that. You don't want to go through that as the parent. So sometimes they maybe just need Is it better to give a day in advance notice or say, hey, tomorrow there's going to be a change. We're going to have an appointment. Or maybe it's just we're on our way to the doctor, right? So you know your child best and you know the amount of warning that they need. So here are just some strategies. Different ones will work for different kids, but I hope that I'm going to meet enough of your needs that you'll come up with some ideas by the end of today. Like I said, that can help with this transition. And so the first one I want to talk about would be using calendars. Like I said, calendar reminders. So if you have a kiddo who is really good about looking at the whole month and really likes to know what's going to happen, you might want to make a calendar that you put up on the wall at home. You can put, that tooth on the left calendar shows that that's a dentist appointment. Maybe with the glasses are an eye doctor appointment, or we're going to pick up our new glasses. We can put other things on, like when's our soccer game going to be? Are we having a special e-learning day? So that's a different kind of a week. So I'm going to put special school and e-learning pictures on the calendar. And I made this calendar with just Google Images. So you can either print it off, use it on the computer, or you could just draw something, whatever works for you. Another calendar, the pink one there on the right, that is actually a hanging chart from the dollar store, and it works great. And so I just printed off numbers and days of the week. And so you can have a calendar that's a little bit more of a manipulative if your kids like to put out the numbers, gives them lots of detailed information, but also put on those special days. Sometimes appointments, but then also some other fun stuff, like maybe show and tell at school. And you want to remind them that it's not always negative or bad things that we put on the calendar. Sometimes it's really good and fun and exciting things that we also want to make sure we put on the calendar. So they start to get a general understanding of what is a calendar. How is this helpful for me? How do I get a vision of what my month is going to look like? Another example is using a schedule if you have a very specific one for your student. A lot of families, the refrigerator is kind of that control center of the family. We put lots of notes and important information. So maybe you're going to make a little schedule. Again, these were some, this family used images. Their teacher provided some. They used some cards and some clips, paper clips, to just kind of put things in order. And they have a little magnetic all done container there. So the child just goes through a day, they pull off their picture and they put it in the little done container. And then they've got a picture of a tooth, which is the dentist. So in this case, they also really purposely made sure that something fun was going to follow it. So I'm going to go to the dentist and then I'm going to go have like special playtime. Maybe they're going to go to the park or something on their way home. So using these little individual schedules can be helpful for kids to move through different days. And then again, some other schedule ideas. If you don't want to do like the whole day, you can do something that's called a first then schedule, or a first next then. So maybe you have an appointment at the bank that your child actually needs to go with you to. So you're going to say, first, we're going to go to the bank, then we're going to go to the grocery store, and then we're going to go home. So as you're running errands, this can be helpful, but also if you have some specific places you need to go, you can make up little schedules like this, just print them on your computer. You can make them in a Word doc with Google Images and then print them off and your child can take them in the car. I like to put them on something hard. So whether you want to, glue it onto a hard piece of cardboard just to have a little bit sturdier than a piece of paper in the car, that can be helpful too. And then finally, again, dollar store, that's the place to go to find some of these great things. So that blue pocket folder is from the dollar store. And those are cards that the family just put in order of how the day was going to go. So you can use that to build a schedule. And then if you have a haircut in there, or you have somewhere special that you have to go for an appointment, you can add that special card. I might make it even like a different color. So I might choose to write down, if we have to go to the doctor that day, I might get a bright pink index card and use that to say doctor on it, or draw a picture or something on it and put it into that slot so they can see that it's something different in their day is going to be happening, and then they can be more prepared for it. So schedules and calendars are really, really important to teach kids in general, because this is a lifelong skill that as they get older and they go to the doctor and they are, at 30 years old, you want them to be making their own appointments and writing them on their calendars and making sure they keep track of places they need to be. Another strategy that I would recommend is making some visuals for the sequence of events. And you can ask teachers to help you with this. Some of these I got off online. So you can Google and you can see some generic ones that they're available that you can print off. Or you can also ask your medical providers and different people if they would have something like this available. If you're going to the hospital like Riley, they might have something like this already prepared. But this can be really helpful for kids because, again, like I was talking about predicting, they don't know exactly what to expect and what's going to happen. And they might be worried about something that isn't even going to be an option that day. Like they're definitely not getting a shot, so they don't need to be concerned about that. So we want to make sure we're clear on what is going to happen to them. And so these are really nice. You can check it off as they go. It kind of gives them a little something to hold to say, okay, look, you're going to get weighed, then you're going to have your blood pressure taken, then they'll take your temperature and they can check it off as they go. Or when they go to the dentist, cross off, put an X on that picture as they go through each of the steps. That way they know, okay, we're pretty close to being all done, almost there, only 2 more things to go. And then we want to make sure, though, if we are really using these sequence of events, that maybe you kind of show it to the doctor right beforehand, make sure there's no surprises or you haven't missed something, because that, again, can be a huge anxiety producing thing if all of a sudden we tell them to follow our sequence and then we change it up. So we want to make sure we're all on the same page as far as what the expectation is for the appointment. If you don't have one of those pictures already prepared, simply grab a piece of paper. And if your child is a reader, you can just start writing down the options. I've even, in the past, when I needed to do a quick to-do list for a child, my chicken scratch drawings, I can draw a little apple or something for a snack. I can use that. But you can make a to-do list on any piece of paper, whatever you have. Add whatever information is important to the child. So sometimes we forget little details. So my example of that would be on this quick to-do list. This child was going in for a doctor's appointment. And so first they were going to get their weight checked, and then it was the height, then the blood pressure. But then once the child went into the doctor's office, they expected that doctor to be right there waiting on them, right? And sometimes we go into the office area or the exam room, and then there's another time for waiting, and that's not uncommon. But that time can be really frustrating for some kids because they're like, well, I'm here. They called my name. It's my turn. So we need to, as parents, be prepared for that little time of waiting and also put it on their schedule, on that to-do list, that we're going to wait for the doctor. And then when the doctor comes in, we'll talk to the doctor first. Then they're going to, this student was going to a neuromuscular doctor. So that we're going to check your muscles. They had some different exercises they tended to do in the same routine pattern every time. So we called that check your muscles, and then say goodbye, and then you'll be all done. So make sure you've got a marker there for the child to be crossing it off as you go through the to-do list. Also using cards for sequencing events. I have this love of using paint chips for lots of different reasons, because I love color, and I love that the colors are, spaced out so nicely, and it's pleasant for me to look at. So I always say, pick your favorite color, grab some of these, have them at home. They're great for writing down, steps if you want your child to follow, steps to maybe making a recipe or something, or you can use them to number things in order. It's just a really great little tool to hold on to. They're hard and sturdy, but this is an example of using a little paint card or a paint chip card, and then you can write down the steps for what's going to happen. So this one was, we call it sometimes a social narrative or a social story. And so this one says, I'm going to pick up my new glasses. I need to tell the lady my name and she will get my new glasses. I will try on my glasses and the lady will adjust them so they don't slide down my nose. I will get to choose a case for my glasses. And then it's nice to say thank you. And then we can leave and go get a drink. So the child knows exactly what the steps are going to be. There's not going to be a shot involved. This is how we're going to do it. This is why she's going to adjust them so they don't slide down my nose. And then put a nice little social greeting there, or a social, thing to say thank you. And then there's a reward at the end. We're going to go get a drink when we're all done. So these are things you can carry in your bag or your purse, grab your marker, and you can write it. This would take you 1 or 2 minutes right in the car before you go inside to make sure everybody's on the same page for what's going to happen. When you are at some of your different appointments that often creep up on you, and so you want your children to kind of have that picture in mind, maybe of who they're going to go see, take pictures for reference for the next time that you're going to have an appointment like that, because there is a lot of space in between these unexpected appointments, right? So there, it could be every 6 months or maybe once a year you go in for that checkup. So take pictures of the activities that are going to be done. So your child, show them, remind them that, look, when the doctor was feeling your throat, it didn't hurt. You weren't crying. Like, they can kind of review this. Look at the feelings that you have. So this is a picture of a little girl who just finished her dental appointment, right? And so she's going through, she's excited because you get, as my daughter calls them, gift bags at the end of the dentist appointment. And you can pull out your toothbrush and see what all these fun stickers and things you get. Remember, you felt so happy. Look, that little girl is smiling. This was not a bad experience. So you can help them remember what it felt like to go to that appointment and how things went, what the rooms look like, and then taking pictures of the people. So if my child sees a lot of doctors and it's taken a long time for her to learn the names of what each doctor does, where they work, they all have different offices. So taking pictures of those people. Some people want to put the picture of the person on the calendar or on the schedule. So it's not just I'm going to the doctor, but it's I'm going to see, Dr. Smith today. And here's Dr. Smith's picture. Oh, I remember her. She was so nice. We talked about, something that we have maybe a shared enjoyment of. Maybe her office has the stickers of, if you look at that middle picture, they've got Toy Story stickers all over the walls in that room. So, I remember the office. So we can talk about the people, the activities, and how we felt during these appointments. And then when that one creeps up on us and we're like, oh, shoot, tomorrow, hey, we've got a doctor's appointment. I forgot about it. Let's get out those pictures. Remember, this is what we're going to do. This is going to help your child predict what will happen, know what to expect, and reduce their anxiety. So I mentioned social narratives, and social narratives are a really great way to help kids be prepared for an appointment or something that they're not used to doing all the time. And these you can just have ready so you can pull them out when you're getting ready to go, when you're in the car, or you could read it the night before. But a social narrative is a really short story about what to expect, how to behave, and how people will feel in the situation. So we want to write these in first person at the child's language level. So like I said, some of them can just be included with pictures. Some of them are just words. They can be, as very academic written, whatever appeals to your child and their level of language. But oftentimes we do add some pictures. But like I said, if they can read independently, some of our older kiddos, I don't need those pictures. Those are too babyish for me. That's fine. It's whatever your child can get some benefit from. So I want to show you some examples of some of these social narratives. So this one that I'm going to show is from Autism Little Learners. And I want to encourage parents, go Google Autism Little Learners. If you have preschool, young elementary kids, kids who need a lot of, or like the cartoonish looking pictures, simple sentences, but she has many, many social stories that you can download for free from her website. And so just lots of resources there. So I want parents to be aware of that Autism Little Learners, it's just not for teachers, it's also for parents. So I am going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to share a new screen with you to show you this one. And this one's called It's Time to Get a Shot. And this is an example of the social stories that Autism Little Learners has. And you can see, you just kind of go through and they're very simple. It's time for me to get a shot. A shot is called a vaccination. So it tells kids some of the language and things that we use. I'm going to try to scroll down here. You can see a little more of it. Shots help, protect people from diseases. So it's giving kids an understanding about why we need to get our shots, where we get our shots at, what does it look like? We're going to use the nurse is going to use a needle. She's going to rub my arm first. Is it going to feel like a little pinch on my arm, like a little poke? And then I get to put a Band-Aid on it. So it gives them the sequence of what to do. I close my eyes, tell them what, I can look away. And then it was a little scary, but it's all done. And look, we can give a hug and we're smiling because we're all happy that we got our vaccination for the flu season or something. So that's one example of using a social narrative, having that ready so that when it's time for your child to get a shot, you're going to pull that out to remind them what they're going to need to be doing. Okay. The next one, let me see in here. The next one that I was going to share is getting my hair cut. So this is another one. I'm going to show you a brief example of the video. And it's someone reading a story on YouTube, but we know our kids love to have their iPads with them. So in the car, on the way, or whenever it's a good time for you to do this, you can share this video with them, and then it will just read the social story to them. So here's an example of one. And there are tons of these on YouTube. If you just want to go and Google in YouTube, dentist appointment, whatever it is, dentist appointment, social story, these will come up.
Getting my haircut.
Here's an example of it.
My hair grows a little bit every day, so I need to get my haircut often. When I get a new haircut, I feel nice and I look handsome. I go to the hair salon to get my haircut. I sit in the chair and wear a cape. The hairstylist sprays my hair with water and combs it. The hairstylist uses scissors to trim the long hairs on top of my head. The scissors make a swish, swish sound when they open and close. I sit very still. I feel calm. The hairstylist uses a trimmer to trim the hair on the side and back of my head and around my ears. The trimmer makes a buzzing sound and feels tickly on my head. Buzz, buzz. I sit very still. I feel calm.
Okay, and I will leave that to you to watch till the end if that's something that would be helpful for your family. But one thing that I like about that one in particular, that social story, is that it tells the sounds and the sensory experiences that the kids will make. So sometimes it's not necessarily what all is going to be happening, but especially when you go get a haircut, I'm just thinking about other, locations and things that the kids are going to. There are a lot of sounds and there's a lot of equipment and a lot of things that look scary that will make noises. And so we want to make sure that we're prepping kids for that, and we're explaining to them what why is that making a buzzy sound or what's going to happen. This is a social narrative. Oops. Just went past it. This is a social story that can be found on our website, on the IRCA website. If you go onto our website and you go under the visual supports resources, you will find a tab that says health and personal care. And if you click on health and personal care, we have a few different visual supports and things that you can use, free to print off. They're also in Word documents so that you can download them, and then you can type in your child's name. You can personalize them with whatever the content needs to be. So this is an example of one of them that we have called Going to the Eye Doctor. And this may be too many words for your child, too much written, but it might be just right. So you could alter it to meet your child's needs. But this is another example of a social story that you can use when you're getting ready to go to the eye doctor. And then finally, I want to show you another video. When we use videos of what's happening when we show the kids exactly what's going to happen, we call that video modeling. And that is an evidence-based practice that can work really well for kids who need to really see what is happening. It helps them to see happening to other kids. Or like I said, you could, along with taking pictures of what their child's doing, you could take a video of your child and say, okay, check with the doctor and say, can we take a video of how you check the muscles, like how you do the routine? Or maybe you're at physical therapy and you want to video something that your child did at physical therapy, so they can go back and they can watch it over and over again. It builds their confidence. They understand the expectation. They know what's going to happen. So when you say, hey, we got to go to PT in a half an hour, they can pull up the video and they can start watching it and get themselves ready for that appointment. But here's an example of what that can look like. This one, I will tell you, this is a longer video. You can see it's 7 minutes long. It had some cartoons with some information, and then I will skip through it, but you can see where they're going to use a real family to demonstrate what it's like getting a haircut.
Is that you, Mandy? Yeah? Sorry, I can't see. That's because your hair's too long. You need a haircut. But I don't like to get a haircut. I know how you feel. Lots of people don't like getting their haircut. And Marvel doesn't like haircuts either.
So I'm going to move through.
I'm brushing Marvel. I don't like.
And eventually it transitions into this young man.
But his hair was long. So his mom brought him to the barber shop. Alex would have to wait his turn. But Alex did not want to sit and wait. I don't want to wait. Let's just go home. Alex's mom told him that he had to get a haircut and that they would have to wait until the other people were finished getting their haircut.
Alex, we have to wait our turn. It'll just be a few minutes.
I don't want to.
I know you don't want to be here, and I know waiting isn't fun, but you have to get your hair cut. Why don't you look at this magazine while we're waiting?
Okay. Alex is feeling nervous. He used his ears to listen.
So then it's going to move on to the
It keeps the hair
hairstylist. So the hairstylist is going to show the young man some of the materials that he's using, talk him through it, and then we can also now watch as he's learning that.
And the next, this is a spray bottle. See, this is just water in here. We use that to get your hair wet. Makes it easier to comb. And then this is a comb. These are teeth, but they don't bite, see?
Okay, so again, this is a video that you can just Google getting a haircut, and it will probably come up. I found these very quickly on YouTube. So let's go back. I'm going to change, sorry, I'm changing slides back and forth here. Okay. So those are a couple of other ideas when we're talking about social stories, watching videos. Another thing that can be really powerful for kids is to role play. And we know kids learn through play. Some of our kids need some more directed, specific play. But if you can know what some of the typical scenarios are that the kids experience, if you even can get some of those materials, whether it be a stethoscope, this little girl in this picture, she was getting breathing treatments. And so she's giving Doc McStuffins a breathing treatment. So if you have like an extra or an old set of something you could use, because the kids are very aware of these things, they're learning about them. We want them to be exposed to these scary tools that we often use, especially in a medical setting. And so getting them to just have that as part of their play can be just really helpful. Again, it's going to make them more flexible so that when you say, oh, yikes, it's time to go to the doctor, it's time to go see Dr. Smith, they're going to be much more comfortable and willing to be able to go with you because they know what those expectations are going to be. We've also talked about the waiting. So some ideas that I wanted to share, just if you are creating some kind of a waiting box or waiting activities, thinking some other options to think about to take, you want to make sure that what you're putting together for your kids are obviously something they're engaged in, because they might be sitting and waiting for anywhere from 5 minutes to 45 minutes. We don't know. But we want something that's maybe a little more calming. We want to try to stay away from some of those activities that are going to really ramp our kids up. And I know that can be hard, especially when I'm looking right at that iPad picture, because for some of the kids, that can really be, exciting. They're playing their game. They want to get the high score. So if that happens, we want something that's easy to transition away from. And sometimes the iPad, as much as we know that it's going to be super helpful, it's hard to give that up. It's hard to put it away. I know I personally could share that I have found it's easier for my child to give me my phone back than it is to take her iPad. So I let her borrow my phone during some waiting times, or we play a game that we can play together. And so then I found it's easier for her to transition that way. But your kids, everyone's kid is different. So that's why I've got to give you lots of different options. One thing that one set of toys, if they like to fiddle with things, or build, I really like are these magnetic blocks, because you could put them, just a few of them in a bag. They could sit, on the floor or at a table. They could build with those while they wait. Those could be easy to carry with you. Thinking about sensory needs, if you have a child who needs a chewy, sometimes we get more anxious, obviously, when we're at appointments and things. So we want to always make sure that you've got an extra chewy in your bag in case they would need that. I like these folders that the clipboards that you can put papers, crossword puzzles, coloring sheets, and then some other crayons, pencils, whatever in them, and just maybe keep that in your car. And then they can clip the paper on the board, and then they can play with that. But that kind of keeps everything contained. Making sure you're bringing your favorite stories if they like to look at stories. Sometimes even a favorite or a favorite character on a water bottle could be helpful. I could say I would much rather have my child chugging water and need to go on multiple bathroom breaks, which are much easier to do. And honestly, I would be happy to take them when they're well hydrated, going to the bathroom, than trying to sit and find something to keep them busy. So for some of the kids, it might be nerves or something, but they need some more to drink, but you could maybe have a favorite water bottle or something that you can take. And then the last picture is another one. It's like a little briefcase that has magnetic shapes in it, and they can use the cards and build pictures and things. But these are some activities where probably it wouldn't have been my first thought to maybe go and grab and take with them. But as we got to know our child and what worked for her, we kind of were able to come up with a couple of different activities to switch it up a little bit, to take her different places when she's having to wait. But they're also very portable, easy to keep in your car, so that you don't have to remember to grab them when you're running out the door at the house. Just have a set that you keep in the car when you're going someplace. And then finally, we have all of these strategies, and we want to try all these things with our kiddos. And we also want to make sure that there is some kind of reinforcement, that we know that, they can do it. We want to reward them for working really hard to go through the steps. We know this was a surprise for you. We acknowledge the fact that, we kind of sprung this on you. And so I really want to say, great job. I'm so proud of you. So if they are into, auto racing or something, you could have that checkered flag at the end, and you could just have these strips created where maybe they're crossing off 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then they're finished. So you could just every few minutes, every 5 minutes or so, you could cross off a number so they could see that you're proud of them, they're doing well. You can ask them, maybe they get a reward at the end. So like, I'm working for going to go get my favorite drink, or going to get a milkshake afterwards, or whatever it is that you want them to be working for. Maybe it's from extra iPad time, right? So you could just be giving them some little stars to put on. Stickers would work on your little chart. You might need more than 10 spaces. So maybe you need, or more than 5 spaces. So maybe you want to put 10 squares on there if they need more frequent stars or something to earn. The last one on the bottom with the potato heads, that is a favorite character of a student. So they can just fold the numbers down, and as the numbers decrease, then they know that they're almost done with their appointment. So these are ways to kind of track time, but also rewarding your kiddos for, hey, keep doing a great job. I am so proud of you. You are following your to-do list. I love how you're crossing off everything and you're working with the doctor. This is, you're doing a really great job. And finally, then I talked about the first then schedule, like first we go to the doctor, then we go to the park. This can also be a concept of a first then reinforcement. So first you have to go and get your new orthotics and go to your orthotics appointment. Then you can have your iPad when you get home. So, or then you can have the iPad in the car or whenever it is. But just by letting them know, like, first you have to do this more unpleasant thing that you really don't prefer to do, but then you're going to get your reward and something that you can look forward to. So, and having that card to not just be verbally telling them, but to show them the card as you take it with you into the appointment, being able for them to see that iPad picture. So they're not just hearing it, but they're seeing it. That can just really be more meaningful to some kids. If, again, verbal language is a little bit harder for them to comprehend, they're used to seeing lots of pictures at school and things. So we want to use some similar strategies that we might use at school. They could also transition those strategies to home too. So this would be another option for you. Okay, well, with that, that's what I had to share for today. Here's my email. But like I said, if you go to the Indiana Resource Center for Autism website, you can find all of our information there, and we are happy to answer questions.